Cam Newton is about to blaze a fiery trail all the way to the fantasy playoffs. Beginning this week, he has the easiest remaining schedule for fantasy quarterbacks. And look at the matchup in week number 9 going against those Buccaneers who are living right now in Davy Jones's locker defensively. The Bucs have allowed the most fantasy points at quarterback position, surrendering 8.8 yards per attempt. 332.9 yards per game. And get this, a 20-to-1 touchdown to interception split. Cam, he was QB5 on the season, raising the floor as well, netting 44.1 rush yards per game. Goes for 296 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 1 interception, 49 rushing yards, and, cherry on top of the sundae, a rushing score. Oh, the Fitzmagic shop is once again open for business. Hallelujah. Praise the fantasy lords on this one. Look, what Fitzpatrick has been at the controls of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he's been a top 3 fantasy points per game producer. A guy that has posted an insane 10.8 pass yards per attempt, also top 5 in deep ball completion percentage. And you look at the matchup this week, it's an exploitable one as Carolina ranks inside the top 13 in most fantasy points allotted in the quarterback position, giving up 7.2 pass yards per attempt, 261.6 pass yards per game, and 1.7 touchdowns per game. Fire up Fitzmagic, baby. He goes for, listen to this, 327 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and, because he always likes to extend plays with his legs, 24 rushing yards. Play the man.
When Jameis Winston isn't chucking turnovers like it's his job, he's content to target the middle of the field with tight ends and slot receivers. Ryan Fitzpatrick, on the other hand, he lets his freak flag fly, chucking the ball down the field and outside the numbers. That's good news for Mike Evans, as Fitzmagic has thrown a deep ball on 14.8% of his passes this year, and Evans' big games have all come when the wild-eyed veteran gets under center. Evans and the Bucs draw a Panther secondary that is somewhere in the middle of the road in a game with a 54-point total. I'm fearlessly forecasting 6 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown. DEVIN FUNCHESS went quiet with DJ Moore enjoying his breakout game, going for just 27 yards on 3 catches. Another skilled mouth to feed isn't great news for FUNCHESS, who hasn't hit 80 yards yet this season. However, he gets about the best possible bounce-back spot imaginable for a wide receiver going against the Bucs secondary. Tampa has allowed a league-high 13 touchdowns to wideout this season, and this game should get high scoring with Fitzmagic back under center. While DJ Moore is all the rage as the new hotness in town, don't rule out a solid line from FUNCHESS here in Week 9. I'm fearlessly forecasting 6 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Week 8 gave us DJ Moore's true breakout game, and as a bonus, he did it against the NFL's best defense in the Baltimore Ravens. Moore showed he could do a little bit of both as he went for 90 yards through the air and tacked on 39 more on the ground. The opportunity numbers show this was something to trust in fantasy, as Moore set a season high in snaps, routes run, and targets in Week 8. Moore's ability in the open field was on full display last week, and he actually ranks number 4 among all pass catchers with 9.4 yards after catch per reception this year. If rational coaching prevails in Carolina, fingers crossed, Moore will only see more work going forward, and it will start this week against the most generous secondary in the league with Tampa coming to town. I'm fearlessly forecasting 6 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown.
Christian McCaffrey last week scored his 2nd and 3rd touchdowns of the season in a degree of difficulty matchup against Baltimore. One of those TDs was a fluke, but his fantasy owners aren't going to complain. McCaffrey, of course, having a great season. He's got 44 catches on the year. That's 4th most among all running backs, averaging about 4.5 yards per carry. Gets a friendly matchup this week with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay allows the 10th most fantasy points to opposing running backs. Very generous defense, 8 rushing touchdowns. Of course, McCaffrey's not really the goal line back. Whatever, he's got a good shot at another huge fantasy day, especially in PPR formats. I'm going to give him 14 carries here, 54 yards. I'm also going to give him 8 catches for 81. No TD this week.
Since the Bucs' Week 5 bye, Howard has been on a tear, converting 13 of 17 total looks, going over 60 yards for 3 straight games, finding the end zone in 2 of his last 3, and ranking inside the top 10 fantasy producers at the position for nearly a month. The second-year player is certainly hitting his stride. He's a solid play regardless of which quarterback is under center, especially facing a Panther squad that has given up touchdowns to tight ends for 3 consecutive efforts. I'm fearlessly forecasting 4 receptions for 63 yards and a score. Working his way back from a foot injury, OLSEN has been on the field for over 95% of the Panthers snaps for 3 straight weeks. His targets may have decreased over that time, but his productivity has not. Scoring in back-to-back efforts, the 33-year-old gets better and better with each effort. He's a huge part of Carolina's offense and figures to remain a fixture in Week 9 when he hosts a Tampa Bay defense that recently lost middle linebacker Quan Alexander to a torn ACL. I'm fearlessly forecasting 5 receptions for 54 yards, and let's give him a touchdown.